As you can see, it was Jeep. And I drive a Bronco Sport. So it was a little different. Now, I wasn't the only non-Jeeper there, but I was probably the smallest non-Jeeper there. This is our descent into the riverbed. As you can see, it's pretty steep. Got a good grade to it, and very rocky and bumpy and washboarded. So thought I was about to rattle my teeth out. So we're coming down off that hill and getting ready to go into the riverbed. And as you look at the riverbed, you'd think that, well, it's the desert, all the water dried up. Well, sure enough, there's water there. Just that the Hassayampa runs underground. And it does come up in a few places that you'll see later. Unfortunately, camera wasn't quite working when I got around to the first fording through the water. Overheated. I use an iPhone in my window. I'm still new to not only off-roading but also recording these things, and it looks like having an iPhone in your windshield isn't the best of ways to get this done. So you'll see here as we come back up out of that riverbed, we get to meander along a little bit in these nice bushy areas. It's amazing to see how God has made it so that life can just flourish right here in the middle of the parched land and desert. Now this does get quite a bit of flooding during the monsoon seasons at times. You can get pretty hairy down there, especially down towards the canyon. So you'll see here that we come back out of this little windy path and we start to hit the riverbed and soft sand, and I tossed her over into sand mode and she just decided to walk on by. So as we're heading down the riverbed here, I caught back up to the convoy. There was somewhere between 24 and 28 of us, I think, in the convoy, and 4 of us not Jeeps. The rest all Jeeps. But if you look off to the left as we come up here, you'll see my car's bigger brother over there with a big Bronco. So you can see as we get farther down through the trail, there's even more greenery everywhere. So the water's coming up pretty soon, which, again, I didn't get to record because my iPhone overheated. But you'll get to see it on my way back out. These trails, this one happens to be a in and out trail, so you come back out the same way you went in. And you'd think that might not be all that much fun because you've seen it once not long ago, but it turns out pretty nice because it looks completely different coming the other way. Now right here, we finally caught back up to the convoy after going through the puddles. We had to stop and do a little bit of planning to get the Bronco and a couple of the other vehicles through safely. So we got a little bit behind. I tried to take a wrong turn. They got me to go the right way, so you'll see here it gets pretty lush, and there's some places back in here you can sit up and have a picnic and just kind of enjoy yourself. And in a moment you're going to see how my day went, because put my wheel up on a rock that decided to turn and get a lot bigger than he was as I started going over him. So yeah, I took a little bit of damage to my floor pan. Don't think it's anything too serious. I was able to ford the water after that, and she's handling just the same as she did going in. She's still handling that way coming out. But you'll see here, it's not that big of a rock, and I've got a good 10 inches of clearance on this thing. That was not a 10-inch rock when I hit it, and there was the bang. So we'll see. I'll take it in and have it checked out, but I'm pretty sure at this point it's probably nothing too bad. coming up on the rise here at the most farthest point on this trail where we all stopped for a little while to have a bite to eat and socialize. I'm going to tell you, the Summit 4x4 Club out of Prescott is a bunch of really great people. Even though I didn't have a Jeep, they still accepted me. They still talked to me. They still helped me, encouraged me, and it was just a blast hanging out with all these great people. And the scenery was just amazing. So we started back out and heading back out again the way we came in. And so you can see a lot of that greenery again. And here pretty soon you get to see me come back out as I ford that water. So I managed to not damage my car coming back by that rock, and that's when I noticed he was a lot taller the second time around. But I managed to avoid him. So these are the puddles, or lakes, or it's basically the river above ground here in the Box Canyon area. And you'll see just how deep it is watching that guy in front of me go through. I kind of hang off on the side. That was our strategy for us smaller guys. People on smaller wheels was just kind of hang off on the side. You'll see here I start to go a little bit and I stop because I see the wake that he puts into that second pull. So the manual on the Bronco says to keep her down below around 4 miles per hour. So I turned on that trail control to 4 miles per hour. I didn't worry about my throttle. I didn't worry about my braking going through this. I just worried about putting my wheels where they needed to go. Keeping it off the wall and keeping it out of the middle. There is a large rock in one of these, I had heard a couple of the guys saying, so it's probably a pretty good idea that I didn't go down the middle. Aside from the fact I probably would have swamped out my motor. I'll just let you guys kind of watch her do her thing. You can see that this area is pretty frequented by quite a few people and families. You'll see here on the right hand side there's actually a little kid playing in the water, kind of hiding from all the big trucks off on there on the side. Spooked me a little bit. Wasn't expecting that. So you're going to see these last couple of pools up here, the deep ones. So they're the ones that were the spookiest. So there's certain times of the year I have a feeling I probably want to kind of steer clear of this. And there's certain times of the year that just about everybody wants to steer clear. Monsoons will take this and turn it into a lot more than it is in this time of year. As we're coming up here out of the final pool, you'll see off on the right there is actually the flood gauges that are used to monitor the water that comes and flowing through here through the Box Canyon. And you'll see it's pretty dry. It's up and out of the water right now, but it goes up quite a ways. So this is known to get quite a bit of water from time to time. I gotta say, this is one of the more enjoyable times I've had driving around in this state that I live in now. I'm originally from Texas. This actually reminds me quite a bit of the hill country back home and some other areas around there. And makes me a little homesick, but at the same time kind of makes me feel at home. Here you're gonna see we pause here for a second for a little bit of traffic, cross traffic. Just remember when you're out there on these trails, you're sharing those trails with families and livestock and horse riders, hikers, bikers. Just be courteous to people out there. Be courteous to other drivers and be courteous to those on those horses, and understand that they're on an animal. You don't want to spook that animal and get somebody hurt, and don't want to be throwing up dust in people's faces either. So I want to say thank you to the Summit 4x4 Club and out of Prescott, and George, and all the wonderful people that we met today who helped us out and made us feel warm and welcome. If you're up in Wickenburg, it is a neat little town. Lots of cool places to eat, art shops. You should stop by, check it out, make a day of it. So here's that damage I was telling you about, a little bit of scraping on a skid plate. There's that floor pan, dinged up a little bit, and a little bit of scraping on one of the iron pieces up front. So she did get pretty dirty, but the silver color just doesn't show it very much. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.